What's up, guys? Today we're doing our next film in our Batman marathon, The Dark Knight.
You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
So, Aidan, what's the plot of The Dark Knight?
The major plot in The Dark Knight, as most people know, the Joker has arrived in Gotham, and he's terrorizing the town. He wants to get Batman to reveal himself so that they can kill him. He's kind of just doing random shit, although he is aligned with like the Gotham City mobs and other criminals. Harvey Dent is the district attorney, and he's a big part of the movie as well. He's trying to basically eliminate all the criminals in Gotham the legal way, although he does have respect for Batman as well. And yeah, I mean that's the general gist of it. You can probably put the pieces together for everything else just from that little description. So Connor, what did you think of The Dark Knight?
I liked The Dark Knight. It kind of avoided the pitfalls a lot of the Christopher Nolan and even Batman movies had up to this point. Well, the central supervillain was pretty important. It wasn't really like the 90s Batman movies where they were kind of hammy and,
Where they were fucking
unrealistic. There's a lot of unrealistic things that Joker does in this movie, but Joker as a character feels like he has some level of motivation, and we kind of get why he's doing it, even though it's not very well explained at the same time, which is weird. And then when Harvey Dent does become Two-Face because of Rachel dying, who he's in a relationship with, it's a pretty cool payoff, kind of seeing how even some of the best people can snap, but Batman's kind of the one force in Gotham that's not corruptible. For the most part, it has pretty cool sequences in it, like there's the semi-truck SWAT team chase scene that's great. A lot of the sequences with the Joker are really entertaining. Of course, like Batman raiding that building in Hong Kong. Like, it's a really well put together movie for a lot of sequences. The problem is, since Christopher Nolan didn't do a great job with transitions between scenes in this movie, it kind of creates a lot of plot holes. For example, when Bruce Wayne's holding a benefit for Harvey Dent, Joker comes in, throws Rachel from the roof, Batman saves Rachel, and then it just cuts to another scene, and it's like, okay, what happened with like Harvey sitting in the room? Does he just wake up and he's like, oh, I'm in some weird like Batman panic room? What happens with Joker? Did he just walk out and Batman didn't notice him? The police didn't notice him?
Yeah, the editing can be a little jank.
It was a little jarring at times in terms of editing. Although I don't really think it was the editor's fault. It kind of seems like the screenplay and the footage didn't really align to make those make sense. Maybe they were like deleted scenes or something. I didn't look. But that did occur a couple times in the movie. All the dialogue in this movie, there was only a couple lines that are kind of hokey, which if you've watched our channel at all, you know we kind of tend to clown on Christopher Nolan for his
dialogue.
Less than stellar dialogue. We've made like 6 videos on the CIA plane scenes, so from The Dark Knight Rises. So yeah, we definitely like to make fun of Christopher Nolan for that stuff, but for the most part, this movie does a good job avoiding those pitfalls. Aside from a couple exceptions. But otherwise, I think this movie is really fantastic. It has a lot of really cool, like, narrative elements. It kind of moves around a lot. It almost feels like, Joker and Batman do balance each other out a lot in this movie, and it's not just something they, like, say for dramatic effect, but it actually kind of seems true. like Batman and the Joker both kind of believe in anarchy, but you know, Batman does it.
It's like
on
taking
the side
the law
of the
into
law.
your own hands versus destroying the law.
Not well. I wouldn't even say Joker's goal is necessarily to destroy the law, but he's kind of like taking crime into his own hands and kind of just trying to escalate it because he doesn't. He's an anarchist, I guess, which is a little edgy. Joker's definitely a pretty edgy character, but a lot of his interactions with Harvey Dent and Batman are really cool, despite the fact that some of them are somewhat nonsensical. I did like Two-Face in this movie, but I kind of understand he kind of had like a breaking point, but it still almost felt a little quick, kind of like the Anakin Skywalker to Darth Vader type of turn, where it's like, I get like a traumatic event happen to you, but really like one scene ago you're like the most noble, great man, I'm gonna sacrifice myself for Batman, and like a scene later you're at the point where you're trying to kill Commissioner Gordon's child. Like,
Yeah.
it's a little
little
extreme turn, but at the same time, just the acting was so good by Aaron
Also
Eckhart.
played I, Frankenstein.
Yes, I do remember him playing I, Frankenstein. But
Which
yeah,
was
Aaron.
Raiders.
I think Aaron Eckhart did a good job, kind of portraying Two-Face, and even a lot of the things that kind of break the realm of realism, which I think is a lot of things in this movie.
Two-Face's terrible design.
I didn't mind Two-Face's design, honestly. It doesn't really look like a real burn victim, but I mean, your choice was kind of go with like the Batman Forever Two-Face, which is like, looks like a wax figurine, or go full fucking disfigurement. I think they picked a pretty decent middle ground where he's just a skull face, charred up skull face. I was kind of fine with it. For the what would you have preferred? You would have preferred the fucking full blown. His nostrils are melted together, and he looks like how you can't even like he had his face perfectly burned in half. That's not very realistic.
Well, there's a lot of shit about the design that bugs me, like the fact that the good half of him still has all his hair like perfectly blonde manicured hair, and it just like suddenly stops directly in the middle, and he's got like holes in his face.
That's how he
still,
looks in the damn comic.
but he can
books.
still breathe. But wasn't there a point in the comics where like right after, you think when they take people in for major surgery like you'd require after a burn like that, they usually just
shave his head, not half his hair.
shave his head, not half his hair, and perfectly manicure it. Plus,
Yeah.
like, the fact that he doesn't have an eyelid anymore on his fucking creepy skeleton half, like,
Maybe
his
off
eyeball must be
screen.
fucking so dry, dude.
Maybe like
I bet his
between
eyeball
scenes,
fucking hurts like a
maybe
motherfucker.
between scenes he uses
Every
eyebrows.
scene, he's just like
Yeah.
squirting all the Visine in.
Afterwards, probably. He probably has a fucking backpack just full of prescription eye drops. I don't fucking know. I mean, it's a goddamn superhero movie, and his face is disfigured for like a third of the film, so...
Batman murders his ass. Pretty
Yeah.
much. I mean,
I
I don't think he intended to murder him, but he murdered him. Batman murders Two-Face every time that he appears in the Batman movies.
He murdered him again. He broke his cardinal rule.
What did you think of the late
He
great
tried
Heath
to
Legend?
tackle his ass. You know, I think his performance is overrated, but it's not bad. I mean, he's just like some fucking schizo crazy man who... My bigger problem than Heath Ledger's performance with the Joker is how it's just kind of, they just contrive reasons that everything works out. It's kind of the Emperor Palpatine problem. There's a lot of fucking Star Wars references I could pull out of this, but I feel like Joker really has the Emperor Palpatine problem where it'll be like, he's like, I knew this would happen, blah, blah, blah.
Just like perfect planning, fucking days in advance. Like,
Right, the hospital blows to fucking pieces.
How the fuck did he
It's
even
like in
get
The
that?
Dark Knight Rises when Batman burns his symbol into the bridge. Everyone makes fun of that, but no one makes fun of the fact that somehow fucking
that shit is funny.
Joker...
Managed to raid a
Lace-
whole hospital with explosives and nobody noticed.
Right. That's a little insane to me, but... You know... there are issues with the script. It's a bit contrived, but it's mostly pretty well done. And honestly, like, you know, it's not like Batman v Superman levels of contrived with Jesse Eisenberg just knowing everything that every character is gonna do. I mean, Joker pretty much knows 90% of what everyone's gonna do. And the only time it was like they didn't do exactly what Joker thought was so they could do the hammy. You see, the people of Gotham do care not to blow each other up on the boats.
Yeah.
That's the only
I
time.
kind of feel like
I feel like honestly that's like the scenario out of every scenario in this movie where I feel like if it was gonna happen, one of those fucking boats would have blasted the other one. Why did Big Black
but they believe
criminal
Harvey
killer throw it?
because he was a changed man. The prison system
Because
works.
of Harvey or something.
Because
Or
he
maybe
believed in Harvey.
he was
Dent.
done playing Joker's games. Maybe he was suicidal. He knew he was going to jail forever
Mhm.
anyways. Maybe it wasn't Gotham's pride of man or whatever the fuck.
What did you
Batman
think
was
of
full
the not late great Eric Roberts' performance?
Good. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was fine. It was a well shot movie. I like it. It does have its issues, pretty glaring, and a lot of the times I'm sitting there and I'm like, wait, what? Because like an important moment will happen off screen, like when fucking Droopy Dog and Harvey Dent get kidnapped and they get strapped to the bombs. And then Joker kind of just mentions, he's like, oh yeah, I know how you saw Droopy Dog and Harvey Dent last scene, but they were kidnapped.
Well, we
Then
see
there's
Harvey
like a
get
one-
in the car and get driven away, but
Yeah, well, there's like the 1 second clip where like, no, it wasn't Harvey. It was Harvey kind of walks off, but then there's like a 1 second clip where Droopy Dog's sitting at the crime scene of like where they
Yeah.
saved or where Gordon turned out not to be dead.
then the Mexican lady
And then
puts
the
her in the
Mexican
car with
lady-
the fat man.
Yeah, and then she looks like sad about it, kind of, the Mexican lady. And that was it. And I guess they taped up Droopy Dog and killed her or whatever after with the bomb. But I don't. I don't know. Yeah, there's a few moments like that where you're like, okay, this is just like random shit that Christopher Nolan's like, how can I make a dramatic, like a crazy sequence of Katie Holmes getting or fucking Droopy Dog getting kidnapped, and then he couldn't think of it, so he's like, we'll just do the scene transition where she gets into his car.
And then she's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, because it seems like he's like, okay, in one scene, Batman saves Harvey Dent after Harvey Dent reveals himself, and then in the next scene, I want Harvey Dent and Droopy Dog in 2 separate warehouses about to get blown up.
The Joker says he's gonna blow up a hospital, and then 5 seconds later, the hospital's already rigged with explosives, and fucking when the Joker blows up the
Yeah.
fucking police station.
And why was he doing that? Because the guy was going to reveal Batman's identity, and that wouldn't be fun. But if you're watching the movie, it was like, at 5, we're going to reveal Batman's identity. And Batman's like sitting there and he's like, wow. And then the guy's on the TV like 2 minutes late, like the next scene. So presumably like maybe like Joker had like an hour in midday at the hospital to hook up all these explosives. Or did he read
So he
it
was
on the
just
TV
already-
guide early or something?
Or he was already planning to do it, and then he was just like, okay, well, I guess this is as good a time as any, I don't know. And then when he blows up the police station a little bit before that, he just vanishes after that, and then sets the whole everything into motion.
No, well, he
He also
blows
somehow-
up the police station, then you see him hanging out the cop car, like, laughing and screaming.
I guess.
Like, I
You'd
guess
think
one of
it'd
the
be
other
slight-
prisoners, he's like, come on.
Do you think it'd be slightly harder for him to get out of a police station? Like, were they all stationed on that one floor where the bomb was? Was there none in, like, the lobby? Or outside? Or on the
He
floors
hopped.
below them? Did he jump out the window?
No,
and
because
just-
he was in the precinct, and I guess Commissioner Gordon's on the bottom floor. Because he was in, like, the precinct's jail because Commissioner Gordon didn't want to get his eyes off of him. Or something.
Yeah, it could be a little choppy at times.
Yeah. Well, he was in jail, like, during the he made his escape while Droopy Dog and Harvey Dent were tied up.
I guess. That's fair.
So Commissioner Gordon and Batman left. And so did like a bunch of the police officers. It's a lot of like shit happens, and then shit happens because everything's just like Joker's master plan doesn't really exist, but Joker just has a bunch of tiny plans to cause issues. And then they don't really know how to connect scenes well, but Christopher Nolan thought of like 30 good like scenes with the Joker and then decided to clumsily tape them all together. That's pretty much The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
I like the movie a lot still, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, like, this thing's riddled with plot holes, or how, like, they're like, okay, Joker did this huge bank heist, how does he get out? Well, the bus driver conveniently comes in and runs over the other Joker guy who's about to shoot him. And then he kind of just puts the smoke grenade thing in the mob boss's mouth, which was conveniently attached to him so that when he got on the bus he could conveniently drive off, and it was the perfect length, so right when the bus pulls out, it pulls the string out.
That's the Joker's superpower.
It's just
supernatural,
awesome convenience level.
No, it's like supernatural premonition, but just like moderate premonition, so you can just like plan out exactly where someone will stand to get hit by a bus, I guess.
Right.
And then that bus can drive out of a flaming bank that has police officers driving to it without anyone noticing.
And then, yeah, he ends up in the line of buses, like it was all planned, and he knew the exact second they'd be loaded up would be right in the middle.
And none of the other bus drivers were like, hey, I just saw a bus drive out of a fucking exploding bank.
And may I ask, where is this bank that there is a line of school buses that drive through? Usually once the school bus leaves the school, they probably go in like 10 different directions, you know?
Well, maybe it's like...
And then the buses break off from there.
Maybe the school's like 3 buildings down from the bank, and they all have to
cut
turn
right through downtown. Yeah. Right by this mob
That's where
bank.
I would put my school.
That's where I'd put my mob bank. Yeah. No, seriously. And then, but think about that scene. He's like, okay, I'm gonna... to get more money, which he doesn't... As established later, he doesn't care about the money. He cares about chaos.
Well, he wanted...
So, killing the other guys doesn't matter, right? But he still riles them all up by telling each one who they're supposed to kill. So then they start doing the killings, which is supposed to make them which will make them paranoid, so that then one of them will point a gun at Joker. Joker is pinned and has no chance to pull his gun out. But then the bus conveniently crashes through the thing in time. He slowly turns instead of just shooting and trying to get out of the way. As this bus rams through a brick wall in reverse. It hits the guy perfectly. And then he has the perfect length string. Like, that is so convenient. Like, the movie would have been over right there, realistically, because he made these guys paranoid, so they shot him. Now, I would understand if Joker cared about money and wanted more of a share. But what he did instead is he just burned all his fucking money. Which begs the question now, how can he finance to get this huge string of bombs to blow up an entire hospital?
The reason he did the bank robbery was for the clout, so that he could get all the mob bosses together to talk to him.
Right. Well,
the Joker's just a clout chaser in this movie, dude.
It's not him trying to get clout. What he was
chaser.
trying to do is he was trying to steal the mob money so he could... Yeah, I guess he is. He was clout chasing. The Asian guy kind of came in on coincidence, and then the Joker knew he'd be a squealer, and knew that even though the money was going to be transferred by Hong Kong Man, that I guess he just knew the Hong Kong Man would get captured by Batman.
No, he robs the bank because it's a mob bank, and then all the gangsters are like, oh shit, someone's robbing us, and we need to deal with it. So they all meet. So what's the plan? And then he goes to them. And he's like, I'm the one who robbed your bank, you dumb fuckers.
No, I understand that, but do you think the Asian guy was supposed to be part of his plan? Also, like, so it makes sense. So that makes sense. But then why does he kill the guys? Who cares? Just give them their fucking...
Because he thought it was funny.
I get that he thought it was funny, but that's a good chance he's just going to get shot, and then he just got incredibly lucky. That's the thing, is he just has inhuman luck the whole time. Well, if he doesn't give a shit, then why is he going to do it in the first damn place? That guy was about to get incredibly rich. The last guy standing. I mean, Joker's basically just a memer in this movie.
He just does whatever he wants. It doesn't matter.
Yes, I know he does whatever he wants. I get that's the point of his character, but that doesn't really... explain away. So he's not actually special at all. He's just a god of getting incredibly fucking lucky constantly.
Yeah.
Despite meteoric fucking odds. And then at the same time, sometimes he seems like a master planner. I am nitpicking right now because I do like the movie.
I actually liked the Joker.
Yeah, he's not bad. Anyway, what did you think of The Dark Knight?
It's generally good. Connor went over some of the major problems. There's really, really good sequences in this. Batman going to Hong Kong. I like the bank robbery despite it being kind of contrived.
Oh, the bank robberies is such a good scene. I love that scene.
Yeah.
And it sets the pace because this movie has a bombastic ass pace.
Oh, it just keeps moving.
Where you think it's like an opening action sequence and then it just kind of never slows down.
Yeah. I mean, there's always something going on. Batman, the Joker's escaping in a semi and Batman just flips it and then the Joker's out there and Batman's driving at him and there's always something going on. The sequences connect together pretty poorly, but the sequences themselves are really strong. Christopher Nolan, or Christian Bale's doing far better as Batman this time, in general. I mean, I don't think he was bad in Batman Begins by any stretch, but it was nice to have him chill out a little.
Right.
Like he tones the Batman voice down. He kind of in Batman Begins, Bruce Wayne felt a lot like he was playing it up, kind of like American Psycho. You know what I'm saying? He was like super over the top rich boy. And this one,
I mean, American Psycho is why he got that job, and
I'm sure it
in
is.
this one he kind of decided he was gonna
tone it down,
do something more original with it, because it definitely did like his Batman versus Bruce in that movie was very kind of reminiscent to how he was in American Psycho, where I feel like this is a little more
balanced. Almost.
Not even balanced. It almost like they don't really come off as like a really very much of a different character, except when he does put on like the Bruce Wayne mask occasionally. But when he's Bruce Wayne around Alfred, he's great. And there's a lot of good conversations between Bruce Wayne and Alfred.
Yeah.
Pretty much every slow moment is either him with Droopy Dog or Alfred.
I like the stuff with Lucius Fox a lot too.
Right.
Actually.
Oh, Lucius Fox is great when they actually choose to put him in shit.
Yeah, lots of really good sequences. It's not so much the editor's fault, I don't think, but the transitions, as we've talked about, the scenes are strung together kind of poorly, but they're so strong individually that it makes up for it. Like lots of strong sequences. Despite how overhyped it is, I do like Heath Ledger as the Joker a lot. I think it's an interesting take on the character. I have shat on him before, quite a bit, even on this channel. I haven't seen the movie in a long time, and I am a bit of a contrarian. It is definitely overhyped, and it is quite different from the Joker we're used to, but
Right.
I do find his kind of... I don't know. He is appealing in his own way.
I mean, I think in a lot of ways it's pretty similar to like the Joker we see nowadays. Although maybe part of that is a reflection off of this. Although I do feel like you can see elements of this in earlier Jokers. I also feel like, ironically, Joker in the comics, at least how a lot of people write him, is more of a planner, where he'll plan out all of his moves ahead of time and trick Batman that way or whatever, where this one just kind of seems like he somewhat plans and then just kind of wings it.
He even says he pretty much does random shit. I like the scene with Joker and Harvey in the hospital is one I like a lot, just them talking and kind of like seeing Harvey break down as he's realized that everything's fucked. And I like the way the Joker describes himself as a dog chasing a car who wouldn't know what to do with it if he caught it, because he does come off that way in the movie. Like, he's just kind of doing random shit just because he doesn't know what else to do. I think it's an interesting take. I'm not crazy about Two-Face. I know they had that scene earlier with him, like, threatening to shoot the guy to get information out of him.
Right.
Which I think was supposed to, like, foreshadow his darker side, but I almost would have preferred if they didn't do Harvey Dent yet. Or maybe put it at the very end and save a more flushed out version for the third movie, because, like, you see him throughout the movie and he's just, like, the best person ever.
Honestly,
scenes...
Two-Face should have probably had his own movie.
Yeah.
Like, Bane seems like such an awful choice for the Nolan trilogy.
Yeah.
Honestly. Like,
We'll
Bane
get to
could
that.
be good. Actually, Bane could be great for the Nolan trilogy now that I think about it. It's just... I feel like... Well, we'll get back to all of this, but I feel like Dent would have been a perfect villain for the third movie. Like, maybe that shit with Rachel and Harvey happens in the climax where he gets in, like, a coma or some shit, or the, like, medically induced coma to save him. And then when he comes back to life in the next one, he slowly goes insane or something like that.
Yeah. One of my favorite scenes...
It is minorly nitpicky, though.
I liked right at the start of the movie when he gets all the criminals at once and they're all in court together. And the judge asks how they plea and they all just start talking over each other because the whole courtroom's filled with them. And
Right.
It's not only funny in like a natural, non-quippy way, but also shows off Harvey Dent a little bit. I mean, there was some tacky stuff, like him ripping the gun out of the fucking guy who was testifying's hands and shit to show that he was a good guy,
Right.
but it feels like such a dramatic shift over such a short period of time, regardless, that he feels kind of tacked on. Like, I feel like you almost could have introduced Harvey Dent in this movie and then just focused on the Joker stuff and ended with the boat scene and the whole, like, you know, Batman capturing Joker and stuff like that. And they do tie the two together fairly nicely, but it still feels like Harvey Dent was just short of being fully fleshed out.
Yeah, and if this next Matt Reeves series of Batman movies is good, I really would like Two-Face to finally get his own movie. I feel like he is a character that definitely could hold his own movie, and yet he always nonsensically gets paired with someone else. Although, like,
and he's
I
always
did like
the
the
sidekick.
yeah, I did like the idea. Like, they really built up Harvey Dent before they put Two-Face in. Like, that was a huge missed opportunity with, like, the 90s series.
Yeah.
Because even if you count Batman Returns and Batman 89, he shows up for 2 minutes as Harvey Dent as
Played
a
by a
black
different
man.
actor.
And then when half of his face is scarred, I guess he goes white too. But yeah, so he's not very well built up.
It's like the core of the Two-Face idea, the Harvey Dent idea is there. And it's really close to being a good idea, and it's just like that much off that it feels a little weird.
What do you mean in this movie?
In this movie. Like, it's
Right.
it's good, but it feels like if they had just done a little more work on it, they could have had it be great and be almost as iconic as all the Joker stuff, you know?
Right. I feel like, yeah, I guess you would have to change the ending quite a bit, like the end of the third act, but if you just saved Harvey Dent, maybe like the next movie he's starting to get more aggressive and then he starts doing Two-Face shit. Like, starts killing his enemies and trying to, like, avenge Rachel and shit.
Yeah.
Just eat a
I mean, no, I just... But, I don't know, maybe... I know I'm kind of spitballing here, but you almost could have, like, had Harvey Dent get injured in the way he did, and at the same time, but he's... Like, after Batman saves the Joker, he pushes back against that, like, you know,
right.
He starts seeing Batman as like an opposing force because Batman doesn't go far enough with his justice. Done something interesting with him in a potential third movie, something like that. obviously that's all just hypothetical, so.
Right. I mean, I think they did tie him in with Joker better than, like, he seemed like kind of just an aspect of Joker's plan. He was more of a prop, really. Or not really plan, I guess, but, like, he basically just opened up Joker to his ideals.
Yeah.
So he kind of created this other side of Harvey Dent where, you know, his main character. So in a way, anyways.
I do think it works. I just think it's a little bit, just a tiny bit off, but, yeah.
I was just trying to say, I feel like it takes a little bit, it would take a little bit away from this movie to push it off, but at the same time, I could see it working.
But yeah, very, very strong individual sequences. It's mostly coherent as a whole. There's just parts that are a little bit shaky, little dips.
Right.
For a Nolan movie, dialogue is fine. There's nothing truly special in the dialogue, but it's not as clunky as even The Dark Knight Rises. I'd even say it's generally less clunky in the dialogue than Batman Begins.
Right.
To the point where it almost doesn't feel like a Nolan movie because no one says anything that makes absolutely no sense.
There are a few, like, awkward moments. Like,
no more dead cops!
Yeah. Like, he never learned to get out of that, because even, like, The Dark Knight Rises has, like, the get this hothead out of here. It's not just, like, comically ridiculous characters like CIA. It's other shit, too.
Yeah.
Like, get this hothead out of here. And no more dead cops. Like, I feel like it's written into the script. They're like, let's have one of our extras yell, no more dead cops.
Dude,
And some guy gets there.
Nolan fucking loves his feature extras, dude.
Oh, he loves them, yeah.
I mean, he has fucking Eric Roberts all over the place in this movie. CIA was his featured extra choice in The Dark Knight Rises, and he just goes fucking ham on him. But you even look at other movies like fucking,
Interstellar, I don't know. Dunkirk, Memento.
Well, actually, Interstellar's a good example because he has fucking Matt Damon as the featured extra. Matt Damon's ass isn't even on the poster, and he's the featured extra for like 10 minutes, and he just hams it the fuck up and then dies.
That's true.
Memento doesn't really have any featured extras because Memento only has like 4 characters.
Right, that's a pretty small.
Have you ever noticed how fucking Nolan just loves the same actors over and over again?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not just like, you got Anne Hathaway was in The Dark Knight Rises, and then Interstellar right after.
Dude who played Alfred's in like every movie he's ever
Almost
made.
every single one. Gary Oldman is in Memento.
Right.
And, God, there was one more notable one. I'm such a retard. It doesn't matter, but
Apparently,
he really likes those recurring actors.
Since he's working with Robert Pattinson on Tenet, I guess he's been giving him pointers on being Batman. I don't know if I'd take any dialogue pointers from
Tenet looks interesting.
Nolan.
I mean, I can't say what Tenet will end up being like. It'll probably be a clusterfuck like fucking Inception, but the concept is interesting.
Yep.
But anyway, generally very good movie that probably could have used a couple insert shots to make things flow a little better. But the individual
couple days of reshoots, you know.
The individual parts that make it up are so strong that it's really easy to gloss over, like the way that they don't perfectly come together, you know?
Right.
Like, you could take any scene from this movie, you could cut it out and upload it as a clip on YouTube. The bank heist scene, or the scene where Batman goes into the Hong Kong building. And it'd just be like, fantastic little scene. And it connects badly with the next scene. But by the time the next scene comes around, what you're seeing is so good that it's like, it doesn't matter, you know?
Right.
So it's like, it's choppy, but in the end, it's just like, it's hard
Very
to
solid.
it's hard to not get caught up in it because it's so fast paced. It's so fun. Despite everything I've said about Heat Legend, he does perform well, even though he can be a little bit. It's overrated, but he is good. He's fun to watch, and so is everyone else. So, except Droopy Dog, I still don't like her. You think Droopy Dog feels bad about getting all the bad genes?
Probably. I mean, honestly, Jake Gyllenhaal's kind of droopy too, though, in fairness.
Yeah, but on him it looks better.
That's true.
Maggie straight up looks like Droopy Dog with a completely fucking round potato head. And Jake Gyllenhaal generally looks like a crackhead, but he also kind of looks like a handsome crackhead.
That's fair. That's fair.
So would you?
I don't know. I didn't think Droopy Dog was that bad.
No, she's a fine actress. She's whatever. I just like to make fun of the fact. I like to make fun of the fact that you look like Droopy Dog.
It's fair.
So Connor, would you recommend The Dark Knight?
Yeah, I'd recommend it. It's a good movie. So Aidan, would you recommend The Dark Knight?
Yes.